Hello, everyone, and welcome to the podcast where we help you speak real, natural, confident English a little more every single day. I'm Sophie.
And I'm Leo. So good to have you here today.
Leo, what if I told you that you don't need more vocabulary to sound fluent?
Not more vocabulary? That's the opposite of what almost every learner believes.
I know, and that's exactly why so many people stay stuck. Here's the truth. There are just 9 small verbs that fluent speakers use again and again, all day long, in almost every conversation.
9. Not 900, not 9,000.
Just 9. And by the end of this episode, you'll know exactly which 9, how they work, and how to start using them today.
Why these 9 specifically? Why not some other 9?
Language researchers have studied enormous collections of real spoken English, millions of words of ordinary conversation, and the same small group of verbs kept appearing far more than any advanced word. These verbs don't carry much meaning on their own. Linguists call them light verbs. The meaning comes from the noun beside them.
What do you mean the meaning comes from the noun?
Think about the word make. On its own, it's almost empty. But look, make a decision, make dinner, make a mistake. Same verb, 3 completely different meanings. The noun does the heavy lifting.
So the verb is like a frame and the noun is the picture inside.
What a lovely way to say it. A few flexible frames, hundreds of pictures. That's the whole engine of everyday English.
Now I understand why we're focusing here. Let's begin.
Leo, when you're in a conversation and you want to say something, what happens inside your head?
First, I think of the idea. Then I look for the right words. Then I check the grammar. And then finally, I speak.
And how long does all of that take?
Too long. Sometimes by the time I'm ready, the other person has already moved on.
That right there is the problem. It isn't a vocabulary problem, it's a speed problem.
So it's not that I don't know enough words.
Exactly. The issue is the time you spend searching. Fluent speakers don't search, they reach. When you search, your brain does 4 separate jobs: scan, evaluate, select, build. 4 steps. Under pressure, that's too slow. Reaching is 1 step. You grab a phrase that's already built, already waiting. No construction, instant.
So the phrase is already finished before I even open my mouth.
That's it. And these 9 verbs create hundreds of those finished, ready-made phrases. That's why they matter so much. Let's meet our first pair. Make and do. This pair confuses learners more than any other in the entire language.
It really does. In a lot of languages, there's only one word for both.
Right, but in English, they have completely different jobs. Make is for outcomes, things you create, things you produce. When you make something, something new exists that wasn't there before.
So make a decision.
Perfect. Before, there was no decision. Then you make one, and now it exists. Same with make a plan, make a mistake, make progress, make dinner. Now, do is different. Do is for activities, things you perform, things you carry out. Do the dishes, do your homework, do some research, do me a favor.
So make produces something new and do performs an action.
That's the whole rule. The phrases that come up most for make a plan, make an effort, make sure, make time, make sense. For do the dishes, do the shopping, do exercise, do damage, do business.
Makes sense. I hear that one constantly.
All the time. Let's test everyone. Which is right? I need to do a decision or I need to make a decision?
I'll give everyone a second to think.
Make a decision. A decision is an outcome, something you produce. One more. Can you do me a favor or can you make me a favor?
Do me a favor, because it's an activity you perform for someone.
Exactly right.
Can I admit something embarrassing?
Always.
I know, but the moment I stored make a mistake as one single piece, I never got it wrong again.
And that's the secret, everyone. Don't memorize make and do as two separate words. Store the whole combination as one unit. Make a mistake. One piece. In a real conversation, you just reach for the finished phrase. If someone asks, "How's the project going?" We're making good progress. I just need to make a couple more decisions, and then I'll do a full review. 3 combinations. Instant, natural, confident.
And none of it was built in the moment, it was all just reached for.
If you ever feel unsure, ask yourself one simple question. Did something new appear? If yes, usually make. Is it an activity you're carrying out? Then usually do. With practice, you'll just feel it. Our second pair, take and get. These two are about intention versus change.
Intention versus change. Tell me more.
Take is deliberate. You choose to do something on purpose. Take a break, take a risk, take responsibility, take a different approach. Every one of them is a choice.
So take always has a person deciding behind it.
Now get is the opposite. Get is about change. Something shifts. Get tired, get better, get home, get dressed, get ready. You don't decide to get tired. It just happens. Your state changes.
Get ready. I use that one every morning.
And notice, when you get ready, your state changes from not prepared to prepared. That's the shift. The everyday take phrases, take care of something means handle it. Take your time means don't rush. Take a look, take notes, take a chance.
So take care of it means the same as handle it.
Almost exactly. And it sounds warmer. Don't worry, I'll take care of it. Native speakers say that constantly. Now, which is right? We're finally getting results or we're finally taking results?
Take your time, everyone.
Getting results. Results arrive. They're a change, a consequence. You don't choose them into existence.
You mentioned that one verb is more powerful than the others.
Get. If there's one verb to focus on first, it's get, because get appears in more combinations than any other verb in English, over 400.
400 situations? One tiny verb?
Get started, get back to you, get along with someone, get over a problem, get used to something, get the hang of it. Same tiny verb, completely different meanings. And a learner already knows the word get. They just haven't unlocked all those doors yet.
Let me feel the difference in a real sentence. I need to take a break because I'm getting tired.
Beautiful. Take a break, your deliberate choice. Getting tired, the change happening to you. 2 verbs, 1 natural sentence.
A lot of learners avoid get because it feels too simple. They think it makes them sound like a child.
And that's a real mistake. Get isn't childish. It's how real people actually speak. Avoiding it doesn't make you sound advanced. It makes you sound like a textbook.
So natural and simple is actually the goal.
Exactly. Fluent English is often the simplest English, delivered instantly. Our third pair, have and give. I want to fix a big misunderstanding right away.
What misunderstanding?
Most learners think have only means possession. I have a car. I have a phone. But have is so much bigger. Have is the verb of experience. When you have something, very often you're living through it, not just owning it.
So have a conversation.
Exactly. You don't own a conversation, you experience it together. Have a coffee. Have a look. Have a great time. have a meeting, have a break, have fun. And have a word often means something important, sometimes a little serious. Context gives it that color.
I never thought of have as an experience verb. That changes a lot.
Now, give is our partner. Give is about interaction. You're contributing something to another person. Give feedback. Give someone a chance. Give a presentation. Give it a go. Give someone a hand. That means help them.
So, let me give you a hand means I'm offering to help.
Exactly. And it sounds much friendlier than let me help you. These little phrases make English feel warm and human instead of stiff. Quick test. Can you give me a favor or can you do me a favor?
Do me a favor, because it's an activity you perform for someone. That's do from our first pair.
See how the groups connect? Without these phrases, can we experience a discussion and then I will contribute my opinions to you?
Which no native speaker would ever say.
Right, but with the phrases ready, can we have a quick chat? I'd like to give you some feedback. 2 phrases, instant and completely natural.
I've noticed something. Have and give often appear together in the same conversation. You have a meeting, and in that meeting, you give a presentation. You have a chat, and you give some advice.
That's a wonderful observation. The experience is the container, and what you give is what you put inside it. Once you see that, whole conversations start to click into place.
And that's when it stops feeling like grammar and starts feeling like real communication.
Our last group is a set of 3. Put, set, and go. These are tricky because on the surface, they can feel like they do the same thing.
They really can, especially put and set.
But each one has a specific job. Put is about placing. You move something into a position. Put your keys on the table. Put things in perspective. Put together a plan. Put something off. That means delay it.
Put something off. I do that far too often.
Most of us do. And put someone at ease means make them feel relaxed and comfortable.
So, put is always moving something into a spot, real or an idea.
Now, set is different. Set is about establishing, creating the conditions for something to happen. Set a date, set goals, set a deadline, set the tone, set things in motion. With set, you're not moving an object, you're creating a framework.
Set things in motion, that means starting a process.
Exactly. You establish the beginning and things start moving. And go is about movement and change. Something shifts direction. Go over the details. Move through them. Go ahead. Move forward. Go wrong. Move in the wrong direction. Go from there. Continue naturally.
Go over is everywhere. Let's go over the plan.
It is. Now let me show you all 3 in one picture. Before a meeting, you set the agenda. You establish it. During the meeting, you go over the points. You move through them. After the meeting, you put together a plan. You place the pieces together. Set, go, put. 3 verbs, 3 jobs, 1 meeting.
That makes it so clear.
Quick test. Let's put a date for the meeting. Let's go a date, or let's set a date.
Take a moment, everyone.
Set a date, because you're establishing when it happens. Set establishes. Put places. Go moves.
Set establishes, put places, go moves. I'll remember that.
And that's all 9. Make, do, take, get, have, give, put, set, go. 9 small verbs, 9 clear jobs. And when you know the job, you always know which one to reach for. So, now the big question. How does someone actually make all these phrases theirs so they're ready in the moment?
Because knowing about the phrases isn't the same as having them ready to use.
Exactly. Here is a simple 3-step method. Easy to remember. Catch it, keep it, use it.
Let's break those down.
Step 1. Catch it. When you're listening to real English, a podcast, a film, a conversation, stop hunting for words you don't know. Instead, catch the combinations you already recognize but haven't made yours yet. If you hear, "Let's go over the numbers," stop and notice it.
I know go, I know over, I know numbers, but did I have that whole phrase ready to fire?
Probably not yet, so you catch it. Step 2, keep it. Write the phrase as one single unit. Go over the numbers, not go and over separately. Your brain stores it as one piece and reaches for it as one piece. And please don't write the translation. Write the English form exactly as you heard it. Then connect it to a situation. Give the phrase a home.
A situation?
For example, "I'll get back to you" lives in the situation where someone asks you something and you're not ready to answer. When your brain knows where a phrase lives, it delivers it the moment you're in that situation.
So the situation becomes the trigger.
Step 3. Use it. Say the phrase out loud before you need it, even alone, especially alone. Talk to yourself in English. If you have a meeting tomorrow, practice tonight. "Let me make a point here. Can we go over that again? Let's set a deadline and go from there." Then tomorrow, your mouth already knows the words. You just reach and speak.
It's not really practice, it's loading the phrase in advance.
Exactly. You're installing it, so it's there when the pressure is real. Every phrase you move through those 3 steps is one less moment of freezing, one less gap between your idea and your words, until one day there's no gap at all.
And that's fluency.
Now let's hear all 9 verbs working together in one natural conversation. 2 colleagues, Monday morning, planning their week.
Did you get a chance to go over the report?
I did. We're making good progress, but I want to make a point about the budget.
Should we set a meeting with the team to go over everything?
Yes, let's do that. Can you take care of sending the invitations?
Of course. I'll get started right away. What about the presentation? I've been putting it off.
I can give you a hand with the slides.
That would be great. Let's have a quick coffee first and then go from there.
Should we set a deadline for the final version?
Yes, let's set Friday. That gives us enough time to put everything together properly.
Works for me. Let's get started.
9 verbs, 15 phrases, 1 simple Monday conversation, and nothing felt forced.
Just 2 people talking and 9 small verbs doing all the work.
Most learners spend years adding more and more complicated verbs, more precise, more advanced, more impressive.
But the research points the other way. Master these 9 in combination, and you unlock more of the language than any vocabulary list ever could.
And the most beautiful part, you already know all 9 words. You always did. Now you just know their power.
So here's your challenge. Catch the phrases in real English. Keep them as one unit. Use them out loud before you need them.
The next time you're in a conversation, you won't freeze. You won't search. You won't translate. You'll just reach.
9 verbs, all yours for every single day.
If today's episode helped you, give this video a like and leave us a comment. Which verb are you going to catch, keep, and use first?
We read every single one. Thank you so much for being here.
See you in the next episode. Until then,
Keep talking, keep learning.
and keep growing. Bye, everyone.